time, my frightful fiends. Disneyland is ours!
The Hag. The Hag is one of the scariest Disney characters ever, and one of the rarest to see at the parks. Of course, we all know she appears on every Fantasmic show, but she hasn't appeared much at Disney parks as a walk-around character. The Hag is one of the few characters to appear as both a face character and an atmosphere character. In the US parks, she appears as an atmosphere character, and at Disneyland Paris, she's a face character. She used to do regular meet and greets at Villain's Lair in Disneyland's Fantasyland. Villain's Lair was located where the Castle Holiday Shop is today, but this space served as a meet and greet for Disney villains for a while. When it closed, the Hag appeared walking through Fantasyland. She has also appeared during Halloween time at Walt Disney World, specifically at Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party. But that's not always the case, and nowadays, it's very rare to see her. At Disneyland Paris, her appearances are more frequent. She appears during Halloween time also at the town square. And because she is a face character here, appearances are more fun. Like some of the other villains in this list, she came back to the Disneyland Resort during Villains Night last year, where you could see her at Grizzly Peak. She was carrying a basket full of apples and trying to give guests a poisoned apple when they meet her. Hans. One of the most surprising additions to the Oogie Boogie Bash this year was Prince Hans. Hans is cold and cruel and a ruthless villain, so his appearance at the event makes sense. But surprisingly, this is not the first time that he has appeared at the parks. He made his official parks debut at Tokyo Disney in Anna and Elsa's Frozen Fantasy Parade, appearing on the final float, accompanying Marshmallow. Then he played a prominent role in the Frozen Live at the Hyperion stage show, which premiered in May 2016 and had its last performances in March 2020. He also made a special appearance in 2021 at Disneyland during the Merriest Nights holiday event in 2021 near It's a Small World. And it looks like he enjoys celebrating holidays because now he is celebrating Halloween. He can be seen in the Carthy Circle fountain. Lotso. We could consider Lotso as one of the most ruthless villains in the Pixar universe. He is selfish, sadistic, and worst of all, he's double-faced. But we can't deny that Lotso could be a somewhat exciting character, so it's not strange that Disney had to bring him to the parks. In May of 2010, Lotso made his park debut, appearing for the first time at Disney's Hollywood Studios at a special meet and greet in the Magic of Disney animation area, and also as part of the Block Party Bash Parade. He also made his debut in Disney's California Adventure in the Pixar Play Parade. Lotso has appeared in various events and parades, such as the Pixar Pals Countdown to Fun, or in the Boo to You parade at Walt Disney World. Lotso has had lots of appearances in almost every Disney park, but his appearances are not as frequent as they were 10 years ago. That doesn't mean that he is entirely retired, though, so Lotso could be considered a semi-rare character. He appeared last year during the Disneyland After Dark Villains Night event at California Adventure. During the event, Lotso was meeting guests at Pixar Pier in the Pixar Promenade area. Guests saw Lotso in his most pleasant and cute facet, and he liked the park so much that he came back for Oogie Boogie Bash this year. You can find him meeting guests in Pixar Pier, just outside of Toy Story Midway Mania. Judge Doom. This year, we have two new villains that were teased by Disney when this trailer came out. We'll begin by talking about the rarest one, Judge Doom. Judge Doom lives rent-free in many people's nightmares.
When I kill your brother, I talk! Yes!
Ever since Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out in 1988, he was deemed one of the scariest-looking villains of the time. He is considered one of the most terrifying and brutal villains. He was completely evil, and the scene where he puts the innocent shoe into the dip is etched in many of our memories as one of the first horror scenes we had ever watched. And if we thought that was horrifying, we had something even worse coming. The scene where he is crushed by the steamroller and becomes a toon is chilling. Seeing his transformation from a human to a toon was terrifying. So much so that he has made almost no appearances at the parks after the movie came out. The only nods that have been at the parks representing the character have been Judge Doom's outfit that appeared in the Chinese theater at the Great Movie Ride. With a sign explaining his role in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and a Weasel's car license plate that says Doom in Roger Rabbit's cartoon Spin, which is very surprising because he is the main villain in the film and doesn't even make an appearance at the ride. But that all changed this year at Oogie Boogie Bash. We all went crazy when we saw the teaser letting us know that Judge Doom would be appearing at the parks for the first time. And Disney did deliver. His treat trail can be found at Grizzly Peak Airfield. This treat trail is fantastic, and Judge Doom is every bit as scary and creepy as we all remembered. Not only that, but he recreates the shoe-dipping scene for guests during the event, making one of our nightmares become a reality. So creepy and fantastic at the same time. Yokai. It's not surprising that Yokai is appearing at this year's Oogie Boogie Bash, and in a second, we'll tell you why. First, we'll take a look at his previous appearances at the parks, which are very few. Before coming over to Disneyland, his only appearances had been at Disneyland Paris. He appeared for the first time in 2015 during a private event, and came back in 2017 with Hero during the announcement of the park's Fan Days event. Later that year, he was one of the many Disney villains to appear during the Halloween soiree event in the Disney Villains Halloween Celebration Parade. Then, in 2018, he was one of the walk-around characters that appeared at Disneyland Paris's day-long Fan Days event in the Heroes and Villains Alley along with Hero. He also had his own live stage show called Yokai's Revenge. This show was in the style of kabuki theater and played on October 31st for Halloween. This was a fantastic show. The way they used the laser projections was spectacular. After this, he made his US park debut in last year's Villains Night at California Adventure, where we could see him on San Francisco Street. With San Francisco opening in California Adventure, Yokai had to be there during Oogie Boogie Bash. He has his own treat trail near San Francisco Square, which looks fantastic. Ernesto de la Cruz. While the following character treat trails have appeared in previous events, that doesn't make them less rare or interesting, especially this one that has been one of the most mind-blowing characters that Disney has ever created. Ernesto de la Cruz is probably one of the most hated Pixar villains ever, and it is incredible to think that he has appeared at the parks. Before last year's Oogie Boogie Bash, Miguel had been the only character from Coco that had been to the parks, appearing first as a singing puppet in the musical Celebration of Coco show, and at several meet and greets wearing a mariachi outfit or his usual red hoodie with jeans. But last year, Ernesto de la Cruz joined Miguel, and people all over agree that he is one of the most impressive characters to appear at Disney parks. When videos of this interaction began appearing, people were even wondering if this character was an animatronic. That's how unique this costume is. This treat trail is breathtaking. We got to see Ernesto giving a concert and interacting with guests simultaneously. The lighting, the music, the costume, and the prosthetics all made this experience so unique and spooky at the same time. He sang several renditions of Remember Me, and thinking about how he got that song after murdering his best friend is chilling. Last year, his street trail was at Bountiful Valley Hideaway, but this year, he switched places with Madam Mim, so you can find him near the Hyperion Theater, and he is looking better than ever. Having seen him last year doesn't take away from the impressive experience of seeing him in action. King Mickey and Donald, Kingdom Hearts. We keep featuring these characters in our Oogie Boogie Bash videos every year, and we couldn't be happier to know that they have become regulars at these events. Since Oogie Boogie Bash in 2019, we got to see Donald and Goofy wearing their Kingdom Hearts outfits, and we all went crazy when we knew that we would be able to meet them. After all, before this event, they had appeared very few times at the parks, and at events like the Japan D23 Expo. But that was not the case with King Mickey. There had only been one appearance of Mickey wearing this costume before, and that was back in Japan's 2015 D23. This is, without a doubt, one of the most amazing costumes that Mickey has ever worn. But that all changed last year when these characters came to the park to meet guests near Paradise Bay. And this year, all three of them are back, and you can meet them in the same spot as they were last year. Bruno. Bruno was such a great character when he appeared last year that this year he decided to come back. And it makes so much sense because ever since it came out, Encanto has been a huge success. So much so that there's even a 2-minute special projection show that plays daily at the Small World facade featuring We Don't Talk About Bruno. To bring the characters to the park, Disney first brought Mirabel to California Adventure at Paradise Gardens as part of the Viva Navidad festivities. She also appeared at Disneyland and later, Disney World. And it wasn't until last year's Oogie Boogie Bash that Bruno made his park debut. He appeared at Grizzly Peak Trail with a fantastic backdrop that resembles his room in the casita. With a large, glowing hourglass, statues of Bruno seeing the future, and, of course, plenty of sand. It was also recently announced that he will be making an appearance at Disney World to celebrate Hispanic and Latin American Heritage Month. And, of course, he made his return for this year's Oogie Boogie Bash, where he is meeting guests in the same spot where we could find him last year. He is such a fun interaction, and we can't wait to say hi to him again. The Sanderson Sisters. This is another meet and greet that we are so happy to see again during the event. We love Hocus Pocus, and we've been dying to see the Sanderson Sisters come to Disneyland for years. The sisters came to the parks back in 2015 when Disney created the Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular for Mickey's Not-So-Scary Halloween Party at Disney World. But we had been waiting to see them on the West Coast for a while. Last year, Disney announced that a special character meet and greet inspired by the Sanderson Sisters would debut on Disney Cruise Line's Halloween on the High Seas sailings. Minnie Mouse, Daisy Duck, and Clarabelle Cow debuted a never-before-seen look as they dressed up as the iconic Sanderson Sisters. These costumes look honestly amazing. Disney released this video, confirming that these costumes would also come to the Oogie Boogie Bash, and we love seeing these characters in the Hollywoodland. The backdrop, the pumpkins, the bubbling cauldron, everything about this meet and greet was fantastic. This year we get to see them in the same place as last year, and we love that they came back. The setting is amazing, and we hope they become regular Oogie Boogie Bash characters. Madame Mim. Madame Mim is another character that debuted during last year's event. And as we said before, this was way overdue. She is one of the best characters in the underrated Sword in the Stone movie, and such a fun character that we can't imagine why Disney hadn't brought her to this before. As amazing as this movie is, all its characters are very rare, with Merlin making very few appearances and Wart only appearing in the Magic Happens parade at Disneyland and Disneyland Paris for a special event earlier this year. But finally, last year, when Disney released the teaser for the event's characters, there was one that people couldn't figure out as easily as the others. But, after some speculation, we realized that it was Madame Mim. She appeared at the Hyperion Theater courtyard, and the tree trail looks fantastic. It's full of references and Easter eggs, like the paintings on the stage representing all the animals she turned into when she battled Merlin. And if you look closely enough, you can see that we get to meet Archimedes and Wart in this tree trail too. But they don't appear to be having a great time being caged on both sides of Madame Mim's throne. This year, she switched places with Ernesto de la Cruz, and her tree trail can be found in the Bountiful Valley Hideaway, looking as amazing as last year's. Mother Gothel. Tangled is probably our favorite Disney movie, and we're so happy to know that there have been lots of representation of this movie in the parks. Rapunzel and Flynn have become very frequent characters for meet and greets, parades, and shows, and guests love seeing them walking around Fantasyland. But we never had a meet and greet with Mother Gothel. She has appeared previously in shows like the Bald Mountain Nightclub during the Villains Night at California Adventure. The show was hosted by Dr. Terminus from Pete's Dragon, accompanied by a full jazz band and dancers. The guests of honor during it were the Queen of Hearts, the Evil Queen, and Mother Gothel, who sang a song called Hair. And of course, she appeared during last year's Oogie Boogie Bash. Her trail is beautiful. Surrounded by flowers and candles, you can see Mother Gothel wondering why she is there, surrounded by villains. She can be seen holding a dagger or even the magic flower. You can find her at Grizzly Peak Trail, and this year, she's back. Same trail in the same place, and we love to see her. Agatha Harkness. We've arrived at some Oogie Boogie Bash regulars we love to see since they first appeared at the event. The first is Agatha Harkness. We fell in love with Agatha as soon as WandaVision aired in 2021. And Disney knew this because they immediately decided to bring her to the parks during Oogie Boogie Bash that same year. The first nod to her at the parks was in March of 2021, when her director chair appeared at the WandaVision photo op in California Adventure. This was a hint for what was to come because Disney released this video, teasing some of the characters we would find during the event, and Agatha was one of them. Agatha could be found in the ancient sanctum at Avengers Campus, where she had her own immersive treat trail. Agatha talked to guests while her song played repeatedly in the background. And when she first appeared at the event, we wondered if we would be able to see her ever again. She thankfully made a return at the event last year and this year. So thankfully, she appears to be an Oogie Boogie Bash regular. And with the Agatha Coven of Darkness series coming up, we don't imagine that that's going to change anytime soon. And we're thankful for that. Cruella. Another character many of us worried would not be coming back soon was the 2021 live-action Cruella. After all, while the movie was a great success and an amazing film, we didn't know how long Disney would have her appearing at the parks. She first appeared in 2021 at the event. Her appearance was confirmed in the Oogie Boogie teaser video. This treat trail has been one of the coolest, most impressive treat trails of all. She can be found in the Hollywoodland area on stage. And because the central part of this movie is fashion and design, Cruella is surrounded by many of the designs across the stage. Sid. This Oogie Boogie Bash regular is one of the most fun interactions. He is bratty, rude, and loves to terrorize toys. And interacting with him in this treat trail shows all of these personality traits. Sid appears in Pixar's most popular film. That's why it's baffling to think that he had never appeared before at Disney parks. He had only appeared before in a show. Aboard the Disney cruise ship Disney Wonder, there was a show called Toy Story the Musical. This show ran from 2008 to 2016, and in it, Sid had a whole number where he sang the Make a Little Noise song. But that was the only live-action appearance of Sid until 2021, when he was given his own immersive treat trail located at Pixar Pier. He set up his Sid show on the Pixar Pier stage, and now he's back this year, in the same place, with the same fun interaction. Oogie Boogie. Of course, we couldn't leave out the star of the show, Mr. Oogie Boogie himself. Oogie was such a rare character. He made very sporadic appearances at the parks, with one of the first being the Unleash the Villains event in 2013 at Disney World, and Villains Unleashed in 2014. That year, Oogie had a show, the Oogie Boogie Freaky Funhouse Show, featuring sword swallowing, crossbow tricks, and an acrobatic fire routine. He has also played an important role since 2015, when the Hocus Pocus Villains Spelltacular opened. That same year, he was added to the Boo to You parade in the Villains A Go-Go float. He has had some meet and greets here and there, but it was very difficult to get up close and personal with this character, until 2019, when he decided to throw his own Halloween party at California Adventure. After not being invited to Mickey's Halloween parties at Disneyland, he cast a spell over DCA and invited his villain friends to come along. He took over the animation building, hosting his own unique treat trail. Here you get to see him and say hi. We love how he transforms this space every year and always look forward to visiting him.